So is Misha, because it's in turbine, there's a little different. We're not doing the Misha Mara. We're just not. I mean, we may do the congregational level. We're not going to do that. Oh, okay. She doesn't have it in there, so that's why I was like, that's why you don't need it. That's why you don't need it. Okay, and since it's attached, and we're not doing, and we're only doing the one page percent. No, we'll do the cover. We'll probably do cover. We'll do both. We'll do both, but we only reversed the allergies. Oh.
It is the list.
Okay, so everything I had was actually in order. I just had the Misha Baroth and have it on the computer and have it in there. But I can't. Okay, and I'll just know it's complete. Okay, and I'll just skip over it. I can't take it off.
Where's no problem? You'll eventually do it so. And let's see, she went through all of that. Yeah,
my last page of PLS now is behind me. Oh yeah, and also I'll just listen. I'll just use my ear as well. Okay, and that is my wing.
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. I'm going to call you up to both read Mari Bar.
Do I have my name?
It will be open on the.
It will magically literally be there.
Just be right there.
And should I read it first?
You think it'll be better in context?
I don't know. Every time I practiced it, I was completely doing different things because I'm not okay. So I'm not, super good at this.
Whichever goes. Would you want me to do it? Do you want me to read it?
No, I can read it. No, I'm happily read it. I'm just trying to maybe I'll read it and provide sort of like, this is the context. Because that is the context. So I'll try to follow the logic. Logic is not something I forgot. Okay.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
My 10-year-old grandson is 5'4". 10 years old.
I love this type of
Your mother does.
She just barely cracked 5 feet.
My mother-in-law too barely cracked 5 feet. And my father-in-law is 16. Oh, as a 5 foot? Oh, my grandson? His dad is 6 feet. I mean, oh, no, he won't be that tall. Seagull's mature. So he'll be 6 feet and he'll hit his peak at 13 and that'll be that. And I think they were doing a family school thing. I think they were doing, so a bunch of people were up in that. Are you what's your last name? Abigail. You just join and jump right into the choir? Sorry? No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Not when I'm there, because I'm just like, I just tell them, really good. I'm fine.
1 million years old, right?
Right. It's so wonderful to see you all. Thank you for being here. Seeing some smiles and trepidation.
That's accurate.
It's been a week. I understand.
It's been a week.
not get. Oh, there we go. Great.
Page 10.
Shabbat Shalom. How lucky we are to be with our incredible choir under the director of Michael Querio and our beloved Kenny. And it's wonderful to have you all here bringing some joy and warmth to our service this evening. If you have not done so, please take a moment to turn to those next to you, in front of you, behind you perhaps. Maybe you even have to get up if you're sitting by yourself. Wish each other a Shabbat Shalom and introduce yourselves. Continue on page 2 as we, oh, never And how wonderful it is to be together in this service this evening. We turn to page 2 as we light our Shabbat candles. said that when we welcome Shabbat into our midst with L'chadodi, it is though we are almost getting a second soul to nurture us, to give us some strength, and to bring us some comfort after what I know for some has been a challenging week. Perhaps there's been joy, there's been sorrow, and everything in between. So we breathe in together Shabbat. Breathe in with me. We turn to page 20 for L'chadodi.
We'll sing 4 verses, 1, 2, 5, and 9. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nasucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. Hitoreri, ki va'orech kumi ori. Uri, shir dabeiri, kvod Adonai alayich nigla. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha v'tzochola. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah. L'chadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabelah.
We turn to page 28 and we rise in body or spirit for our call to worship.
La
You may be seated. Throughout our service tonight, we're going to hear from 3 of our community members who have recently traveled to Israel just to share some reflections on their experience. We invite Rachel Avagad to share a reflection based upon a prayer which you might find on page 30.
Hi. I'll read the evening prayer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, ma'ariv aravim. So we went to Israel, about 20 of us, plus staff, about a few weeks ago for a week to volunteer. And it was overall, if I can sum up, it was intense, meaningful, educational, heartbreaking, and fun. And when I was asked to speak about the trip and to speak of it in light of this prayer, my first thought was immediately to when we volunteered in an orange grove in a hamlet called Shokeda in the south of Israel. And we spent the morning harvesting oranges. There's a grove, one of many throughout the country, that are overripe with oranges and lemons. And while we freeze in Chicago, they don't freeze. And so we spent a few hours picking these oranges, and we walked in to the grove, and you have to go, let me bring you there, so you have a sense of what this was like. You go into the trees, and the oranges are, it's like a Renaissance painting. Every leaf is perfect, every orange is perfectly orange, all the branches are beautiful. These are just trees that go on and on and on in huge rows. When you go into the grove and into the trees, and you start to pick these oranges, the fragrance of the orange completely embraces you. And after 3 hours, I could just keep breathing in that perfume. And the dew that is on all the leaves brushes all over your skin and your hair. And the dew and the fragrance and the oranges are so large, and there's so many of them, and they're really heavy, so to pick them, I had to use both hands every time. These are the largest oranges I've ever seen, and I've been to Israel many times before, but I'd never experienced this. And they're very heavy, so each one wouldn't be a snack, it would be a meal. So somebody opened up one of the oranges, and we each had a section, and each section was like this big. I can't put my fingers together because that would make it too small. And it was amazing. It was full of juice, and it was super sweet. And so being in this grove was like Eden. I felt like we were in the Garden of Eden. These trees were unblemished. They were perfect. They're all genetically the same, so they really all looked alike. The farmer who planted them with his father 8 years ago. So you would think, oh, how cute, like little 8-year-old trees. No, they're massive. They're 15 or 20 feet high, and it requires special equipment to get to the top of them. And each branch has like 2 or 3 oranges, just all the way down. So you're leaning down, you're reaching up. And it was a very modern situation. The farmer has a full-time job, he's a consultant, he does IT, and then he has this farm that he planted with his father, but his grandfather bought the land and made it arable. If the farm wasn't there, it would be desert, it would be sand. And it's just such a juxtaposition. And we were having a wonderful time, and we're talking and picking. We picked over 15,000 either oranges or pounds of oranges. And I'm not sure of that, but it's a similar concept because each orange weighed probably about a pound. They were that big. And while we were there, we had to just keep our ears alert for the air raid sirens because we're only a mile from Gaza. And we were told the protocol on the bus that if we hear an air raid siren and we're on the bus, we have to just get off the bus, run as far as you can from the bus, throw yourself on the ground, face down, and cover your head with your hands and hope for the best, because you only have 7 to 15 seconds. And if an air raid siren sounds when you're in the orange grove, there's nowhere to go. So you just fall on the ground, cover your head with your hands, and hope for the best. And if you go to the edge of the orange grove, you will see some farm, green, and then you see the barbed wire fence that denotes the border of Gaza. And you see the buildings right there on the other side of the fence of the people who live in Gaza. And above them in the sky, there's a haze, a gray, smoky, dirty haze from all of the explosions and all of the war. And while we were there for that morning, our conversations were punctuated many times by explosions that just were loud enough that shut us all up. And there were multiple kinds of explosions, and some people knew all their military terms, but there are cannons and rockets and supersonic airplanes and laser-guided missiles and different kinds of submachine guns, and different guns make different sounds when they fire their bullets. Anyway, so as we were in the Garden of Eden, we were right next to hell. And the only reason we were even in this wonderful orange grove picking these amazing oranges is because the farm workers who normally can pick an entire grove's worth in 2 or 3 days, they're super efficient. We hardly made a dent, I felt, but they were not there because of the war. And the contrast of the day and the night side by side just couldn't be starker. Because there I was doing what my grandmother did when she came from Lithuania to live as a pioneer in Israel and make the desert bloom. She did that 99 years ago. She came from Lithuania, from Balbirishki, and she worked in the citrus groves right after high school. And here I was doing the same thing, slightly different way. So it's this contrast. It's the darkness next to the light, and I just hope, like in the prayer, that there will be light again. The prayer kind of gives me some confidence that there will be. We've been through many dark periods before. We will get through this again. We will get through this dark period again. And I don't know how long it's going to be, and I don't know how dark it's going to get, but I'm hopeful. I'm confident, I feel, on some level. I mean, if in ancient times, Hashem was called the God of hosts, meaning of militaries, at the same time as he was called the God of colors, somehow I feel if that was what they said 2,000 years ago, we can get through it. So that was my trip. Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. And we also invite Ben Gorin to come and share some reflections from his trip.
I made the type big, so I didn't need my readers, but I have my readers just in case. I grew up as a very progressive Jew. I'm part of the Chevre of Habonim Dror, if anybody knows Habonim Dror. One of my children went to Habonim. I served on the camp committee for Tavor for many, many years. Israel has always had a very special place in my heart, and I never understood why. I'm connecting this to the Shema. The Shema is about unity, which is the same as solidarity. And I went to Israel in late January with two Chevre who are 16 years older than I. We've been through camp things together, and there is an absolute brotherhood, sisterhood, who we are forever linked. And we went as a solidarity trip, and we sort of planned this out on our own. And I didn't do any oranges. I was picking kohlrabi, just south of, I've had kohlrabi. I never knew from whence it came. But I will start with the Shema, which is Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And we are the people of Israel. If we're born into it, or it's a choice, or we're thinking about it, we are all the children of Israel. I was in Hostage Square the day after I arrived, and a woman who was an American who had made Aliyah had published a children's book to try to explain the events of October 7th. And she very kindly asked me why I decided to come and do whatever I was doing. And I started to explain to her that I had always needed some assurance of an escape hatch if things got bad in the US. And that never became more pronounced than during and after the Trump administration. I started to cry profusely, and I couldn't speak. I was overcome. And that is part of the solidarity. We are all the children of Israel. I have a couple of things written. On October 7th, the Shema played an important role. Shema Yisrael, shouted the soldiers to the survivors who were hiding in a bunker in order to recognize them as Jews and not the enemy in disguise. It's a universal prayer recognized by Jews across the globe, regardless of their age, sex, background, Ashkenazi, Sephardic, etc., or level of observance. As many Jews' last words are the Shema, one has to imagine that many of the over 1,200 who were brutally murdered on October 7th said the prayer as they were being killed similarly to the Jews who were murdered by the Nazis. I took this, I believe, from a Rabbi Ruth Adar. I could be wrong, but I found this. When I say my prayers, for instance, the Shema, I say, one, because I am commanded to say it, and two, because in saying it, I join all Jews, past, present, and future, in saying that elegant, compressed statement of belief and solidarity. In saying the Shema, even by myself, I am participating in a cosmic now, a moment of oneness with the Holy One and with the Jewish people across time and space. I was in Israel to stand in solidarity with Jews there and Jews everywhere. As we have seen over the millennia, when there is not a true home for the Jewish people, we can and will be assaulted. One of the missions of Hamas and others is to remove all Jews from our home in Israel. Jews of the world must be united, not with Bibi, in my opinion, but we must be united as a people, and we must have a home. If we do not, we may become extinct. And I didn't need my readers.
Thank you, Ben. We turn to page 34 for our prayer of oneness. Page 36.
Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you Page 40, our song of freedom, the song we sang as the Red Sea parted. We join together in the words of Mi Chamocha. Let
turn it to page 42 and we ask God to shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. We ask God to give us that blanket that we all need at night because some of us are too old to get tucked in anymore. And it's a good feeling to get tucked in, to know that somebody is there watching over you, to give you that comfort and peace. And when we become too old to get tucked in by our parents, and some of us are remembering our parents and their memory is with us, we just pray that God, this collective force for good and love, is there to protect us at all times. Page 42.
Sukkat Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haborei Sukkat Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo
Page 47. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We rise in body or spirit to ask all of these and more from our prayers that we lift up beginning on page 46.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imachot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 50. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומטמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Page 52. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
We offer now these words from generation to generation. We are joined this evening by old members, new members, young people, and wise people. And so we offer these words of L'Dor Vador together with our outstanding choir.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history and song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. L'Dor Vador, nagid God lecha. L'Dor Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation,
I'd like to invite Lisa Fingerhut Carlton to offer some reflections.
Shabbat Shalom. It was a gift to be in Israel with another Sukkat Shalom member, Rachel. Brought me great comfort. During my time in Israel, I witnessed profound resilience and heroism and a palpable sense of renewed purpose, which was deeply intertwined with the pervasive presence of trauma, brokenness, sadness, and frustration. This seemed to penetrate every crack and expose every vulnerability within the Israeli society. Walking through Florentine, Tel Aviv's vibrant hipster district, young artists paint their hearts out on walls, creating graffiti monuments depicting hostages and heroes, oppressors and victims. These murals screamed with all the emotion of October 7th, rendered in vibrant colors, bold lines, and carefully chosen words. At Beilinson Hospital, the unique physical traumas of the Israel-Gaza conflict were laid bare before us. Witnessing the extraordinary commitment of doctors and administrators, caring for soldiers with such reverence that they call them diamonds, left a lasting impression. We encountered proud soldiers there, bearing deep wounds, yet their only desire was to heal and return to their units. In Hostage Square, the haunting echoes of desperate trauma reverberated as parents and families pleaded for one thing above all: bring them home now. The scenes at Kfar Aza, one of the kibbutzim most affected by Hamas terrorists on October 7th, were deeply harrowing. Standing before remnants of homes belonging to young adults, some massacred, many kidnapped, left an indelible mark on us, defying adequate description and demanding remembrance. Despite the overwhelming horror, our visit to the Tel Aviv Sexual Assault Crisis Center provided a profound understanding of the atrocities inflicted upon women during and after October 7th. We have immense gratitude to the dedicated professionals and volunteers working tirelessly to ensure awareness of these heinous acts and to facilitate the ongoing healing process. Misha Berach Avotenu. Bless all those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit.
Just before I left for our 6th grade program, one of my children, I won't reveal which one it was, just completely lost it, to the point that there was no consoling, and that I don't think that they really understood what was bothering them. They just, everything was the matter. They didn't want to be hugged, they didn't want to be approached, they didn't want to be left alone, they didn't want to be isolated. We have all been there at times in our lives, and we have probably witnessed various individuals dealing with this at times in our lives. And this is seemingly the tailspin that October 7th has wrought upon the American Jewish community, which is us. We can go and visit. Many of us have opinions all over the spectrum, but sometimes there's just the sense that we don't want to be comforted, but we don't want to be left alone, and we don't want to be isolated, and it can be so overwhelming. But we come here, and one of the most profound moments of the service over these last many months has been the Misha Berach, which we're going to hear a different but incredible rendition of in a moment, that I've been listening to some rehearsals in my office before the service. Because we need God to heal us. And when Moses was in the desert and Miriam had been afflicted with some scaly disease on her, Moses didn't know what to do. So he just cried out, God, Elna Rafanala, God, please heal her. And so those are the words that we lift up tonight. We say, God, please heal us. We might even not know that we're ailing, but God, please heal us now.
We pause now for a moment of silent reflection and meditation. When you're finished, we'll join back together on page 62.
Shalom, Shalom.
From brokenness into wholeness, our service takes us from our prayers for healing to our prayers for shalom, for wholeness and peace. Avery, I didn't tell you I was going to walk off the bima, but I'm going to walk off the bima. Great. Thank you to Avery for making sure that everybody at home can see me somewhere. Aiden is 4 years old, and sometimes when Aiden is feeling in a particular mood, he hugs me and says, "Daddy, I'm going to work with you one day." That's what he wants to do. And I don't think he actually knows what I do, other than occasionally get up or play guitar or leave a lot when he doesn't want me to leave and come and lead services. But eventually he's going to say, "Daddy, what is it that you do?" And I'm going to be prepared. Because I once read a book, and it was by a pastor's son, and the pastor's son used to ask this pastor, "What is it that you do?" And the pastor responded, "I go and I tell people they're doing a good job." And the pastor's son says, "But Daddy, why do you have to do this every week?" And the pastor says, "Because they forget. And so I have to remind them over and over that they're doing a good job." And personally, this isn't what I always do from the bima. We're just still getting to know each other. It's going to take a little bit of time. I actually haven't given that many sermons since the high holidays, and I love giving sermons. And sometimes I feel compelled to address these big issues in our world. I think it's important to give it a Jewish frame, whether that's the migrant crisis or environmental justice or racial justice or reproductive justice, or even this awful, horrific, ongoing war in Israel. And I know that there are some people who come to synagogue because they want to know, "Rabbi, what are you thinking about any one of these issues?" And I am happy at any point to sit down and talk with you. I haven't given that many of those sermons over these past several months because we're all hurting a little bit. Everybody's hurting. We're hurting because of the horrific violence from Hamas. We're hurting because there is an incredible human catastrophe unfolding in Gaza right now. And so I wrote a sermon. It was actually responding to John Glazer's Oscar acceptance speech, and I'm happy to send you a copy and put it online. And there's a little bit that some people are going to like, and there's a little bit that other people are going to like, and nobody's going to be happy with the sermon. And but I'm not giving it because I don't think that that's the right message. But I want to share one little nugget from it. Rabbi Daniel Hartman has an ongoing podcast that is a weekly podcast. He is an Israeli rabbi, but a very progressive think tank called the Shalom Hartman Institute that has really influenced my entire life, let alone rabbinate and how I think about Israel. And he has this ongoing podcast, and he, after the 100 people died attempting to get food last week from what turned out to be an Israeli convoy trying to deliver food to Israel, he posted what was not controversial to us, but was very controversial in Israel, a remark saying, "We have to fight this just war justly." And now in Hebrew, the word for just is tzedek, tzaddik. So he's using these words that have carried deep connotations as we think about tzedakah and pursuing justice, tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. But he published this saying, it's time that we have to really focus on fighting this just war justly. And what he's saying is that this is a justified war. And Israel has to protect itself. Hamas said loudly, "We're going to kill Jews." And then what did they do? They killed the Jews. And they said, "And we're going to continue to do it." And that's why he believes this war to be justified, as do many. But he also says we have the opportunity to fight it justly. And that's different than how most wars are fought and how most people think about warfare, because it means that we have to think about the other as much as we are thinking about ourselves at every single moment. And I'm literally standing in between right now. I'm in the aisle. It is exhausting to have to think about both yourself and your own needs that are sometimes not being met and others' needs at the very same time. To hold both of these together can be excruciating. And he quotes he goes to a different source than the Tanakh or the Talmud. He goes to what's called the Ruach Tzahal, the spirit of the IDF. And now this was written around the formation of the state of Israel, the Ruach Tzahal. We translate the spirit of IDF, but we also have to remember that it was the Ruach Elohim that merachefet al panei hamayim, that during creation it was the breath, the spirit of God that blew across the waters. So when the founding, it was probably fathers, it was maybe a few mothers, the founders of Israel created this Ruach Tzahal, they were intending to evoke these ideas of creation, that there is a spirit, a divine something that has to be infused into this group of people who are going to take up arms against others and might do the unthinkable, something that nobody ever wishes that they might be compelled to do. And why he lifted up the Ruach Tzahal was because it mentions that every single human being has to be treated b'tselem Elohim. That even during war, when Jews go and fight war, we have to look at the other and say, you are created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. That all human beings are created this way, even the people who are out to get you. And therefore, we have to act with a certain dignity and hold ourselves perhaps to a higher standard than others anywhere else. And that's something we're going to impose upon ourselves. It's not coming from the outside, it's within ourselves. And this is the juxtaposition that we find ourselves here tonight. And where I was going in my sermon was just standing in the in-between. We have to both protect Israel, and we cannot let people starve to death. And we have to do every single thing that we can, and we have to do it all at the same time. And I know that that's exhausting. So simply by coming here tonight to try to nourish your souls, you did a good job. And you might forget that over the next week, so you're going to have to come back. But just in case you don't, I'll remind you again, you're doing a good job, even from where your homes are. And I want to say this especially because I knew that there were going to be some of our sixth graders here and some of our other young ones. And it's really important to hear that you're doing a good job, because life, especially social media, will tell you you're not, and that they're lying. So just remember that. And that's the message that I needed to hear when I woke up this morning. I didn't need to hear a very, very long sermon talking about this horrific Oscars acceptance speech and how angry it made me. I needed to just hear, you're doing a good job. That just holding the tension and continuing to hold it and not letting go of one side or another means we're doing a good job. Because when we live our lives with love for ourselves, love for the other, love for the stranger, for our family, for our community and our world, then you're doing a great job. Don't forget, Shabbat Shalom.
We turn to page 282 in our prayer books for the concluding prayers of our service this evening. Words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. I invite you, if you are comfortable and able, to please rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon Hakol, Lateit Gedula Leotzer Breshit, Shechunotei Shamayim Ve'osed Aretz, Moshav Yikaro Bashamayim Mima'al, Ushchinat Tuzo Begove Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Ein Od, V'anachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Modim, Livnei Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
And our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, those whose memory we have drawn in with our own, and whose legacy we attempt to lead. We are going to remember tonight Dr. Walter Pincus and Eden Levenger Powell, who died in the last 30 days. We link with their names those whose yahrzeit, the yearly anniversary of their death, falls on this Shabbat. Eleanor Goldstein, Lee Slott, Samuel Gold, Willa Jacobs, Jennifer Robin Turi, Ina Rosenbaum, Sam Hollander, Mort Levin, Barry Shore, Carl Krieger, Fred Schwartz, Samuel Brow, Joseph Schoenthal, Ali Muchin, Ali Mushin, Robert Weinberg, Ann Weinberg, Henry Weinberg, and Jerry Mushin. If there are additional people you are remembering on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name out loud.
Brother John Dowd.
Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for an eternal blessing. We continue with our ancient words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. And I was reminded when I was at St. Augustine's Church on Sunday as part of the conclusion of our speaker series that the Lord's Prayer was derived in some part from the Mourner's Kaddish. And both of these, especially the Mourner's Kaddish, is a doxology prayer in which it affirms our willingness not only to live, but to live lives of wholeness and peace in the memory and in some cases the heartbreak of losing a family member. And so I invite you, if the Mourner's Kaddish is your prayer or if the Lord's Prayer is your prayer, to just join us in whatever spirit you feel so moved. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon u'vyomechon v'chayed echol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yit'omam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. De'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel and all who dwell on this earth. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated.
I'd like to thank our remarkable choir for joining us this evening, and in particular, Director Michael Querio. Thank you, as always, for your hard work and talent that you lend us. Those of us who are joining afterwards for Oneg Shabbat for our new member mix and mingle, we are delighted that you're with us. If you would like to opt in to identifying yourself as a new member, there are neon name tags outside that we invite you to fill out so that you are brightly visible to those of us who have been around a little longer and might want to introduce ourselves and make ourselves known to you and welcome you into the congregation. So again, new member, neon name tag. And for those of us who are older members, or more experienced members rather, there are plain white name tags for us to put on. Next week we celebrate, well actually this Sunday at Family School we celebrate Purim. So for those of you joining us for Family School, our Purim Spiel and Purim Carnival will be Sunday morning at 10 a.m. right here in the sanctuary, as well as a little closer to the actual observance of the date, next Friday, March 22nd at 6:30, we will have Shabbat services followed by a Purim Spiel, and I see some of our cast members sitting out in the congregation this evening. So please do join us for both of those events if you are able.
We turn to page 5 for Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Through the beauty of technology, if you're a Sukkat Shalom Choir fanboy like I am, you can hop onto the live stream and listen to Heal Us Now, as I probably will 3 times before I go to bed tonight, and at any time throughout the week. We offer some closing words. Yehi ratzon lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, God and God of all generations. When we try our best, we ask that you reward us with just that little modicum of comfort, with a little ray of sunshine, with perhaps a hug or that special tuck-in to remind us that we are doing a good job. May we hold all the tension in the world together, and may we reach out our hands and support each other whenever we need. May you continue to bless us and bless our community and our congregation. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Oh, thank you, thank you.
I've learned from 25 years of this, it's all about the blend.
And then like listen, I also realized I didn't warm up today.
I didn't know today, I talked all day. Right.
And since
Do what you can do.
I ran in here at 6:01, I was like, oh.
Hi.
with the air conditioner, my sinuses haven't been as good. And so it's like I could hear when I tried to go higher, I'm like, whoa, why is going so high D like an issue? That high.
There are days you get there, days you don't.
Have a wonderful weekend.
I'm gonna go say hi to my husband. You guys enjoy this a little bit? No.
Thank you for singing with us. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Hope it wasn't, was it good?
No, it was totally fun and good. It's just like I didn't know what to expect. So
Well, now you do.
yeah. I look forward to the next